Today, we're going to talk about something that a lot of people rely on when buying a new smartphone: benchmarks. You've probably heard about them, seen them in reviews, or even used them yourself to judge performance. But here's the thing: benchmarks don't really translate into real life performance. In fact, many big smartphone companies actually use benchmarks in a way that can mislead customers into buying their devices. Why benchmarks don't match reality. Let's talk about why benchmark numbers are often so different from actual user experience. When you run a benchmark test on your phone, the processor is pushed to run at its highest possible frequency, basically the maximum speed it can reach. Based on this, the benchmark gives you a score. But here's the catch: your phone doesn't run at its peak frequency all the time. Running at max frequency drains the battery extremely fast and generates a ton of heat. If your processor keeps running at that peak, the phone would overheat within minutes. That's where thermal throttling comes in. You've probably heard the term before, but let me explain it clearly. When your phone starts overheating, the processor slows itself down to cool off. Unlike a PC that has fans or liquid cooling, smartphones don't have active cooling. So throttling is basically the phone's self-defense mechanism. This means that in real-world tasks, whether browsing, gaming, or multitasking, your processor is usually running at a lower, dully, more efficient frequency instead of its peak. And that's the keyword here: efficiency. The real measure of a smartphone's processor isn't just raw speed, it's how much power it uses compared to the performance it delivers. How companies use benchmarks to their advantage. Now that we know efficiency matters more than peak frequency, let's get into the interesting part: how smartphone companies manipulate benchmarks. Let's look back at some examples. Snapdragon 750 series was pretty solid for its time. Then the Snapdragon 865 came out, which was a huge improvement. But when the Snapdragon 888 launched, things got strange. On paper, the 888 was supposed to be more powerful, and in benchmarks, it looked great. But in reality, it was less efficient than the 865. To make the numbers look good, manufacturers allowed it to draw more power, so the peak performance score went higher. But that came at the cost of massive heat and throttling. The situation got even worse with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Many users reported that phones powered by the 8 Gen 1 were losing to older devices with the 855 in actual gaming tests. Even when benchmarks looked fine, real-life gaming performance was dropping. This is a perfect example of why benchmark numbers alone can't be trusted. Thankfully, things started improving with the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, which showed better efficiency and more balanced power use. But the bigger lesson here is this: some companies optimize their phones to deliver max performance only during short benchmark tests. That way, they avoid overheating but still look good on paper. So, what should you trust? If benchmarks can be misleading, what's the better way to judge a phone's performance? Here's my recommendation. Look for long-term gaming tests and sustained performance reviews. High-end games are some of the most demanding tasks for a phone, and running them for 30 minutes to an hour reveals the truth about thermal performance, throttling, and efficiency. Instead of just peak numbers, check how the device performs after extended use, because that's what you'll experience day to day. Benchmarks may look shiny on spec sheets, but they don't always tell the whole story. So next time you're deciding on a new smartphone, don't just get impressed by the benchmark scores you see in advertisements or quick reviews. Focus on efficiency, sustained performance, and real-world usage. That's it for today's breakdown here on Tips and Tech. If you found this helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the world of tech.